It's time for the Craig Reed Show, the most famous roadie in rock and roll. And tonight, the stoned roadie Craig Reed will be discussing the uh, the great guitarist Steve Gaines, and he's going to be talking about some things, some stories with Steve Gaines that a lot of people haven't heard. There might be some things in there that people have heard. I think he's going to answer maybe a couple questions that he heard off of Facebook that people asked. And if you would go on Craig's channel, his YouTube channel, subscribe and like, and just remember that this doesn't cost anything. And Craig and I aren't looking to make any money on this. We want to clear that up. So we just want to make this a happy, fun, informative thing. And it's a lot of information about Lynyrd Skynyrd that's coming out of Craig's head. So it's going to take some time to get it out of there because it's been a long time. So here he is himself, Craig Reed. Craig, you want to start it off with how Steve Gaines got into Lynyrd Skynyrd, and then maybe a little history on Steve Gaines before that?
Yeah, I sure do. And I'm going to kind of keep this more structured this time. My buddy Jeff down there at Coleman Motors down there in Minerva, he comes up here to car auctions, and he come up the other night, and we raced on my racing simulators for about 4 hours straight. And he kind of did kind of like corporate stuff, kind of like that stuff, and told me how to structure notes. So I'm actually using some notes here, so I'm not going to try to fool you into thinking I got smarter. Man, well, maybe I did get smarter because I am using notes, So,
We'll
but
get better as
anyways,
we go.
so if you see me looking up, I'm looking at some notes. But the other day I was watching a podcast and it said, what would have happened had Ronnie Van Zant not died and he were alive today? And I've heard kind of a lot of people speculate on that. And I don't know, right away I thought, God, what if Steve Gaines would have never met Lynyrd Skynyrd? I mean, you might think that's a kind of an unusual question, but Steve Gaines wasn't no chump when he joined Lynyrd Skynyrd. I mean, um, he had a lot of stuff going on, and his sister Cassie, she had just joined the band, not much before, and she, after the "Give Me Back My Bullets" album, she kind of went to, because they were looking for a third guitar player. So she went to Alan and said, "Hey, Alan, my brother's a guitar player." And he just kind of blew it off, like, yeah, right, whatever. And then it, I guess she approached Ronnie and Gary and Ronnie, I guess, and Ronnie said, "Yeah, have him show up." So, and we were, oh yeah, this is what I want to do. Oh, where is it? Oh, I got it down here. This is a tour itinerary, and every band that goes out on a tour gets one of these. And in there are pages of every day what you're going to do that day. And so I'm going to use this to verify the dates of when Steve showed up at the Kansas City auditorium, and then where he went, and then after that, and where the band went, and then how they met up later. So I'm looking at my notes over here. But anyways, yeah, because this was kind of got thrown in among the notes, so I'm kind of confused here right now. But anyways, Steve wasn't a chump when he started when they picked him up. You know, his sister Cassie, before she joined Lynyrd Skynyrd, she was actually in the musical Hair, on the Broadway thing Hair, and they played down there in Oklahoma somewhere, and Steve and his parents went to the show. And Steve said his sister came out topless, you know, and his parents kind of freaked out a little bit. And Steve's going, "All right, sister," you know, that was pretty cool. But he at 15 he went to see the Beatles, and then he asked his dad, you know, went home and that was it. You know, he asked his dad, I guess, if he could get him a guitar. And he got him a guitar, and he must have got him a pretty good one, because in 2 years, I guess they were affluent enough where he could go out and spend enough money on a good one, because they said he never put it down after he got it. And 2 years later, he's got a band called the Ravens, and then he's got another band called RIO Smokehouse. And in the 70s, they went to Sun Records and did 2 albums, you know. And then he got together with Rusty Day from the Detroit Wheels, and that was kind of a runoff from Mitch Ryder and the Detroit Wheels. And then he got put Crawdaddy together in 1974, and they went to Capricorn in Macon, and that's kind of where he actually put down "I Know a Little" on tape. But something else I was going to throw in there, but I figured, oh yeah, he must have bought him a pretty good guitar, because it wasn't just a couple years later after he got that guitar, he's got a band and he's recording, you know. So I guess he didn't, like I heard, he just never put that thing down for 2 years. That's all he did. So he got real good, you know, pretty much real fast. But yeah, when he got together with Lynyrd Skynyrd, he had 3 albums under his belt, and he was from some reputable people, you know. So, you know, so then Cassie got, a lot of people, you already know this. So Cassie went to him, and then they approved him to come, and then he showed up. You know, he showed up that day, and I could look at my itinerary. We just let me see here. I should have this more together, but okay, we played Kansas City May 11th, and we were home from the 3rd to the 10th, and our last show was in Miami, and we stayed at the Marriott Hotel, and the phone numbers and all this stuff's in there. But yeah, we went home, and then May 11th was our first show, and the show in Kansas City. I say the first because I don't remember that the band probably stayed, because they were flying. They were flying, not flying in a private plane, but we did have another plane besides the one we wrecked in before that was a good plane. But this one indicates that they were flying commercial. And I don't really remember, because it's really not in here with the way the crew traveled, but I would assume that we just left and went to the next show, and took a bus and went to the next show, and then the band was flying. But we stayed in Kansas City there for 3 days, and I don't remember. We stayed at the same hotel as the band, because the Lynyrd Skynyrd, we were all like family, you know, and we all stayed together. You're not going to learn anything about the tour if the crew is in one hotel and the band is in another hotel. So they like to have the crew and everybody close, so information was available, you know. So we all stayed in the same hotel. But okay, what I remember about Kansas City when Steve showed up, I think we've covered more or less how he got there. But he was in oh, it's I don't know. It's obvious that Cassie told Steve what songs that he would play on when he got there, because she said you're going to play, so bring your guitar. And she told him that they would invite other guitar players up on T for Texas or Saturday Night Special, or no, Call Me the Breeze. I'm sorry. So yeah, when he showed up at the show, and I don't remember a lot about. I just remember that I heard that Cassie's brother was going to show up, and he was going to play, and he was somebody in a local bar band or whatever, and that Ronnie wasn't real happy about it. None of the band was real happy about it, and Gary said, "We can't just let anybody. We're big now. We just can't let anybody come up here and play with us. My God, when we were like him, just playing in bars, Eric Clapton never invited me to come up on stage, you know. So, you know, this ain't real cool." But, you know, Cassie said, "You know, guys, you think I would really talk about my brother if I didn't think he was capable of doing this, you know? I mean, give me a break, you know?" So they let him do it, but they didn't pay much attention to him at sound check or whatever, and he didn't get up and do a sound check or nothing, you know? So so he showed up at the thing, and I don't really remember how much they conversed. Gary and Alan conversed with him during the sound check. I don't think very much, but he hung around there, and I kind of, you know, I was friends with all the Honkats and stuff, so I kind of felt kind of sorry, or not, whatever what you want to use there, for him, you know. So I just kind of took him and said, "Hey, come in the tuning room, you know, and here's what we'll tune, you know," and everything. And me and him just chatted, you know, and he was real cool, man, you know. So, you know, before the show, he was like kind of, you know, just not knowing what to do, really, you know. Steve wasn't a shy guy, but he just didn't want to be real forward or whatever. I don't know what he was doing. Maybe he had it all planned that he was just going to lay back and then just go kick him in the ass, because that's more or less what happened, man. Steve was real cool, you know. But you know, I started out this thing out, you know, what would happen if Steve never, you know, met Lynyrd Skynyrd, you know. Well, the first thing is he'd be alive, you know. I don't know if I remember if I covered that. And, you know, he had a brother that had died, and then his wife, Teresa, died, you know. So, but, you know, he has, you know, his daughter, Karina, you know, she grew up really not having a real father, and now he's got 2 grandchildren, and I see they've gone out there to the memorial site, and all they know about their granddad is he was this famous guy. And I don't even know if Karina, she was so young, I don't know, don't remember she even remembers a lot about her dad, you know. And all that's sad, you know. I mean, he was only with the band for a year and a half. I mean, he basically met him May 11th, 1976, and he died October the 20th, a year and a half later, you know. And he played the show in Kansas City, and then this was what confused me about this itinerary. It says we were there for 3 days, but I guess that's because I left with the crew and we just went on to the next city. So I don't really know if, I don't think Steve hung around the hotel. Maybe he did with Cassie, but I don't think he got together with the band, you know. But I just got as far as the tuning room. So the band shows up, and I remember Alan kind of but I don't remember Steve really playing. They were just like whatever, and I remember Ronnie telling Kevin Elson that, you know, Cassie's sister's or brother's gonna play with us, you know, and I don't know what he's gonna do, but if he sucks, just turn him off, you know, because T for Texas is a song that Alan played a lot on. He just got up there and just played, you know, and then if other people from other bands would get up there, and then they'd throw a part, and then he'd throw a part in. So there was a lot of places, you know, he could play. So, you know, it's funny. I remember this. I got a visual of this so much, man. It was time for him to get up there and play. So we plugged him into Alan's spare amp, you know, and just a single mace with two 12s in it. We just stuck a mic up there, and the band started, and they got up to a part where they said, Ronnie just kind of pointed at Steve and said, "Okay, show us what you got," you know. And Steve, you know, he thought about this, you know, and he threw him a curveball, you know, and he played some slide, you know, and really just, I remember when he took off, you know, it was like slide, you know, and Alan was like looking at him, and he took off on that slide, and Alan looked at me, because I always stay on Alan's side of the stage because he's easier to get to, and he needs more attention than the other guys did, you know. So I always stayed over there, and I'm looking over his amp, like you've seen me so many times do, with my head stuck over Alan's amp. You know, your roadies are not supposed to be seen, but I always had my head stuck up there, you know. But I was working, you know. It wasn't like I was trying to be seen, you know. But anyways, so yeah, as Steve took off on the slide part, and Alan looked at me and went, "Whoa." You know,
He didn't expect that, huh?
this kid's got something, you know. And Ronnie and all of them just kind of went, "Whoa," you know. And Ronnie, when it got to get to that end of that part, and Ronnie said, "Do it again, kid. What you got?" And Steve threw down that slide and took off. And Alan looked at me and said, "That's the one. He's coming with us," you know. So, like I said, we stayed there and that's all I remember, you know. And he just kicked ass, man. And them guys were just floored, you know. Really, it was just amazing. And the look on Alan's face was just so funny. But anyway, so you know, I've traveled with the crew then, so we just kind of got in the bus and left afterwards. So, like I said, they stayed there for 3 days after. So we continued on that tour. Oh, I don't know how important this is to know, but we left Kansas City, went to Indianapolis, Cincinnati, Evansville, Columbus, Louisville, Greenville, Columbia, Charlotte, Mobile, Little Rock, where Sweet Connie is, and we're going to talk about her at some other time.
Where was Sweet Connie at, Craig?
What's that?
Where was Sweet Connie?
Little Rock, Arkansas. Yeah, she took care of Bill Clinton down there too.
Is that where you first met her?
Yeah, Little Rock. Yeah,
Little Rock.
And it was on the same tour, so we're on the same page here.
Right.
And I've got all of these. So anytime Lynyrd Skynyrd ever played anywhere, I have the itinerary of where we were, where we stayed, everything about it. So then we went to Winston-Salem, Washington, home, and then we were home from June 1st to June 3rd. And then that's when Steve showed up in Myrtle Beach on June the 4th. Now that was this part of the story I remember very, very well. We actually rented a truck of the crew guys. I guess it would have been me and Chuck. You know what? I think that's when Chuck got fired.
Hey,
Right.
Craig, had Ronnie already asked Steve to be in the band, or what?
No, Chuck got fired before that because I was a guitar roadie. But what? Pardon me.
Did Ronnie already ask Steve to join the band, and was he
Yeah.
like?
Oh, yeah. I switched that part. So, yeah, we took off and left and continued on that tour and went to those places I just talked about. I go blow my nose.
But
And
Steve wasn't with you guys.
no, no. There was a rumor somewhere that after he played that he got on the bus and with a guitar and a suitcase and there was no place for him to sleep. That's not the way I remember it uh, because I just remember that they kind of discussed maybe that he would go home and listen to the record and then or whatever. But anyways, I guess Ronnie called him, and said, "Hey, you're going to be with the band. Meet us in Myrtle Beach at the Grand Strand music thing down there." What did I say it was? June the 1st.
Yeah, and I guess quite some time had gone by before he came.
It was well, from May 11th to June 1st.
Yeah.
So it was 3 weeks, something like that from the time he played until the time he showed up at Myrtle Beach. Now, this is when, because like I said, I'd talked to Steve in the tuning room and everything, and we'd become, kind of friends. We talked for 3-4 hours, while he was there before our show, maybe 5 or 6 hours. I don't really remember. I'm sure I took him down and he had ate with us at the crew meal and everything. I was hospitable to him. Nobody else knew the hell he was. He was Cassie's sister, but he was cool to me because I was, I was friendly with Cassie. I'm sure she appreciated it. So, anyways, band shows up and well, I already said that part, didn't I? Where did I finish off?
Yeah.
Okay, he's now he's showing up yeah. Now he's showing up at Myrtle Beach. Yeah, okay. It's about 2:30 in the afternoon, and he shows up. Now we don't play until what did I say? The Outlaws were no, the Outlaws were opened up for us in Kansas City at the Auditorium, Kansas City. Okay, and then we let me see, June the 1st. Let me see. I had this marked. I'm sorry. June the 1st. Here we go. Da 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 da. Oh, we played the RFK Stadium on this show, on this tour. That was real cool. That was the day before.
So you guys played a lot of shows before you got to Myrtle Beach. In 3 weeks, that's not a lot of time to get ready.
June 4th. Oh, God, I got notes in here for that one. I guess that we were there for 3 days. See, I don't remember. Well, okay. You have these 2 days off to relax at home before Myrtle Beach. Oh, where am I? I'm lost here. Didn't I say that was June?
Yeah, you said May to June. Myrtle Beach was in June.
Damn, I'm sorry here. Yeah, May 1st. Well, let me look back here. Dang it. May 11th. Oh my gosh, I'm so confused. Yeah, June 1st to the 3rd. Oh, June 4th to the 6th. It was the shows. As if it matters that much, but I gotta find it in here. That's where the notes start, June 4th. All right, cool. Oh, boy. Maybe I shouldn't have smoked that last damn bowl of hash, you know? All right, here we go. Back to the show here. This won't be edited. Normally people would do this.
No, we don't edit.
Well, we don't edit nothing. We just roll with it, you know. All right, we stayed at the Howard Johnson's, the Grand Fran Music Fair. It's Highway 17 South, and Wilson Howard was the promoter. And it does not look like we had a stage call is for the crew. Sound check was at 5 p.m. and showtime was at 8 o'clock for the opening act, which it doesn't specify, and then Skynyrd was at 9:30. So sound check, yeah. Steve showed up about 1:32 was a couple few hours before the before sound check anyway. So those guys showed up about 5, and Steve had already been there. So he shows up, and I met him and everything, and I says, "Hey man, you want to burn one?" And he goes, "Yeah man, I got a little bit too, you know." So we said, I swear to God, me and him did nothing but smoke for 2-3 hours. I mean, and you would think that somebody, just getting a job with Lynyrd Skynyrd would be kind of
be paranoid.
Maybe I ought to hold off a little bit. Man, no, we just it was like Cheech and Chong, man. We was just, the whole place was full of smoke from me and Steve, I think we had to go back out on the bus or no, we were in the truck or whatever at that time, yeah. But anyways, yeah, so we just burned him down for a couple hours straight, and he just wasn't intimidated a bit about smoking and then playing, Obviously he was used to it. He had his own. I think Artie talks about he grew some good tomatoes, But but then he played that show, and then they went down to Florida and right into the rehearsal. We had a rehearsal studio there where Dean drew that drawing on the wall and everything. And God, that was God, I got notes in here for Steve.
Hey Craig, I got a question. Got a question for you. Didn't you say that Alan and Steve sat down across from each other?
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm gonna get into that.
Did that must have happened down in Jacksonville then?
Yeah. Okay, here I am on the itinerary. Sorry about this, folks. Just take a smoke break or whatever. Okay, June the 6th. Yeah, we played more than one show down there. Yeah, we played the 4th, 5th, and 6th there. See, I don't remember that. That's crazy. Well, that's not crazy, but anyways, yeah. So then, went down to Jacksonville, immediately into the Riverside studio, and what I remember about that is, man, it woke Gary and Alan up. I mean, big time, I mean, Steve got there and he started playing, and Alan and Steve sat down like in the movie Crossroads, and they sat down in chairs facing each other. And it was like Alan would lay down a lick and Steve would follow it. Alan would put one down, Steve would follow it, and Steve would put down, Alan would follow it. And Gary's like sitting there too, but he's not really eye to eye like Steve and Alan are, and he's just kind of playing along with them. But it was like, in my opinion, it woke them up, and it was like they were going, man, if we don't step up our game, he could be the number one guitar player in this band instead of number three. You know, this kid's this kid's got something. You know, and Alan and him just buried it, man. I mean, it was cool. I think I took a picture of it. I'm sure I had to have taken a picture of that. It was just intense, but it wasn't a month after that that they're um, um, recording the live album at the Fox. I mean, it was
Yeah, he learned
a
everything
month
pretty
later, or
fast.
3 weeks later, a month later, they're recording an album at the Fox, you know? And God almighty knows. I mean, and then that's where Steve, um, you know, well, showed Ronnie, I know a little, and then I don't remember, but I thought that the song "You Got That Right." I always heard that Ronnie got those words from a guy named Jim that was our truck driver, and he would little Jim, and he'd had a little guy with a cowboy hat, and you go and you'd ask Jim something, he'd go, "You got that right, you got that shit right," you know, and that's where Ronnie got that song. Okay, well, somebody said that Steve already had that song. Well, uh, I've heard two versions of Honky Tonk Nighttime Man, and one of them is Ronnie's, and then one of them is Steve's. And the one of Steve's is the one they used on the album, and the one that Ronnie's words are totally different. But it's funny hearing the same song with two different sets of lyrics, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. But anyways, so yeah, that's about all that. I got a lot of personal little stories with Steve, you know, and a bunch of little things, you know, like he took off when we went to Japan. All of us bought cameras, and I'm sure everybody knows that I bought a movie camera and I filmed everything. When we went over there, the dollar was strong, man, and you could buy thousands of dollars worth of cameras for, you know, not as much money, you know. So I bought that movie camera, and then I bought a 8 millimeter or a 35 millimeter camera. But everybody, Cassie took lots of pictures. Steve, God, he took lots of pictures. Billy, Gary didn't, and Alan didn't, and Ronnie didn't, and Artemis really didn't. But me and Steve and the girls, Leslie bought a camera, and yeah, we just all took a lot of pictures, and I just don't see a lot of pictures on the Steve Gaines. Of course, I'm not a member of it, I don't think, or any of them, but I just don't see a lot of pictures of that Steve. I don't know. Maybe they have them and they're just holding on to them and
Yeah.
releasing them when they're worth something, you know, back in the, because, you know, a lot of those pictures in, you know, a few years will be worth a lot of money, you know, probably. I don't know.
When
I
was
don't
it, Craig, that Steve moved to Jacksonville?
He moved. Well, he showed up there in Myrtle Beach, and you know, so Teresa didn't show up with Karina. Probably, I'd have to check my itineraries and see when the next. Probably as soon as possible. I mean, I remember
Yeah.
that the I think it was their first house when he moved there. I've been there several times, you know, but I did, you know, but yeah, but you know, he was only with the band a year and a half, you know, and it's like we started this thing out, you know, everybody wanted to know what would happen to if Ronnie were alive. You know, the same thing with Steve, you know, I don't know if I covered it before. I don't know. He had a different style of music than they did, and whether he would have been successful or not, and did what he did, who knows? But you know, chances are he might still be alive or would have lived a lot longer than he did. And to me, that's the most important part, you know. So I really wish he'd have never met the band. You know, it's bad to say because I really love Steve, man. It's just
And the ironic thing is,
yeah.
Ed King and Steve Gaines' birthday is the same birthday.
Oh, for mercy's sake.
Yeah. And Ed King used to talk about that. And I really think Ed King.
You know, Leon Wilkeson's birthday is on the same day as Leon Russell Wilkeson, and that's his name, Leon Russell Wilkeson, both of them. You know,
yeah,
that's my dog's names too. This one, Leon Russell Wilkeson, the fourth. There's the third.
Hey Craig, we're past 30 minutes, so it looks like
oh my God, dang
yeah,
it, man! We tried
fast.
to make this 20 minutes. I get off
fast.
on those dang things. All right, turn on your light.
Yeah. I didn't have.
All right, we ready to go? Okay, we're gonna. You know, that was a pretty good one. I don't know. That was our first band one. So
a lot of information.
All righty,
to go over there.
That was a wrap. Let's cut it.
It's a wrap. See you next time.